Everybody has imposter syndrome. We all feel like we don't know what we're doing. I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. You probably feel like you don't know what you're doing. But the problem is, it's holding you back. It's holding you back in your career. It's holding you back in your business. We all think that other people exactly know what the right answer is, what the right path is. And here's the secret: nobody has a clue. Let's look at the most successful people on the planet. Everyone's like, oh, Bill Gates. That guy is super smart, one of the richest people on earth. He always has crushed it. He knows exactly what to do. No, how did Bill Gates get going? Bill Gates didn't start with Microsoft. He didn't. He had a company, him and Paul Allen. They had this company called Traf-O-Data. Okay, what was Traf-O-Data? It was a company that was all about measuring how fast people were driving on the highways. And you ever drive on the highway and you drive over those little rubber strips on the road? Those things are measuring how fast people are going. That was their business, Traf-O-Data. You know what? It did horrible. But what they got out of that was they figured out how they could run a business, what they could do, and then they kept going because they tried. And that is the secret to all of success, is just trying. How about, Milton Hershey? Milton Hershey is the guy who founded Hershey. They're the candy company. We all eat Hershey bars and every other candy. They make every candy. Did that guy just crush it out of the gate? No. He had a candy store that he worked at, this candy store that he started for 6 years. Did that candy store crush it and turn it into the biggest candy thing in the world? It actually didn't. It went out of business. It was an epic fail, but he figured it out. And that is the common theme, is actually just doing the thing. And it's not about starting a business. You could just do the thing no matter what it is. Maybe it's starting a blog. Maybe it's trying a webinar for the first time. Maybe it's posting on Instagram or YouTube consecutively every day, every week for months. It is trying and doing the thing. And you know what? Whatever it is that you do try, whatever it is, it's not going to go well. But once you do it, you say, oh, you know what? I didn't do that right the first time. And now I figured it out. And now I'm going to be able to go further. And the problem that usually happens is you have an idea for your business, for your personal brand, right? For your career. And what do we all do? We go out there and we try to get advice from people. I'm going to go get advice because we think somebody else knows better than we do. That's what we all do. So you go ahead and you find somebody to get advice. And you know what? The advice is usually horrible. It doesn't sound horrible at the time, but why is it horrible? Because the person giving you the advice actually also has no clue. They're going to speak to you as if they do have a clue. They're going to make you feel like they have a clue, but they don't. They either have never done the thing before, whatever it is that they're giving you advice on, or they've done it 45 million years ago, and they're pulling out information that is completely useless now. Okay, or they're trying to predict things and say, if you do this, this is probably what's going to happen based on this, that, or whatever, and they have no idea. Let me give you an idea what I mean. Bill Gates. Let's go back to Bill Gates, super successful guy. In 2004, there was an interview with Bill Gates, and email was exploding in a big way. And they said to Bill Gates, hey, what's the future of email? Spam is such a big problem. How are we going to solve spam? And in 2004, Bill Gates said that within 2 years, spam would be gone. It would be completely eliminated. And everyone's like, ooh, Bill Gates said that. That's going to be true. That's a big deal, right? Well, guess what? Spam's still here. 20 years later, it didn't go anywhere. Nobody has a clue. How about Steve Ballmer? Steve Ballmer is a super smart guy. He took over running Microsoft. He's one of the richest people in the world. He owns the Los Angeles Clippers. He must give really good advice. He must know what is going to happen next. I would definitely ask him anything. So for example, in 2007, they went to Steve Ballmer because the iPhone was just getting going, and Microsoft also had a phone at the time. I think it was called a Zune. And they said to Steve Ballmer, hey, what do you think about the iPhone? And he said, the iPhone will get absolutely no significant market share. There's no chance. That was in 2007. They don't know. Nobody has a clue. Okay, we're all just out there saying stuff. We're all just trying stuff, but that's the secret. The people that are successful are the ones that are trying the stuff. Of course you have imposter syndrome. And one of the things that's actually ruined people and making them feel like they have imposter syndrome is this idea that you need to spend 10,000 hours before you become an expert, right? There was this book written by Malcolm Gladwell, and he's an incredible author. I love his books. He's a super smart dude. And in his book, he wrote, in order to become an expert, you need to spend 10,000 hours doing something. And this was based on some really old research about these violinists that were trying to become the greatest violinists in the world. And they had to spend 10,000 hours before they could really feel that they were exceptional violinists. And that's fine. You want to play violin, you want to be a painter, whatever, and you think you need to spend 10,000 hours before you become an expert in that, that very well may be true. But this idea of 10,000 hours equaling out to being an expert in everything else, which is what happened, and everyone believes that, is total and complete garbage. Okay? You want to become an expert in AI? Here's what you do. You spend about 30 hours reading things, researching things, trying things, and you keep pushing it. Then you start posting about what you're finding out. I just found out this, I just found out that, I'm now reading this blog, I'm now reading that, and you keep doing that for a few weeks. And within a few weeks, I guarantee you this, within a few weeks, okay, you will know more about AI than 99% of the people on the planet, because you're out there in it, learning it yourself, messing around with it, trying it, posting about it, posting publicly about what you're learning about, what you don't know about, let people react to that. You don't need to spend 10,000 hours. Why don't you go ahead and do that? Why don't you wait, okay? Spend the next 5 years, okay, spending 40 hours a week, whatever the thing is that you're doing, okay? Because that's the amount of time that's going to take you to do 10,000 hours. Wait 5 years, dedicate 5 years to it, and then call yourself an expert. You know what? You could spend 5 years, okay, every single day of the week, and you are not going to be an expert. You're just going to be somebody that wasted 5 years. It doesn't mean because you spent the time that you become an expert. It's the doing. It's the reacting to the doing. It's putting yourself out there. It's trying the things that make you uncomfortable. That is the path to success. Okay, and this is where we get it all backwards. And so it frustrates me when you see these biggest names on the planet saying this is going to happen, or that's going to happen, or don't go down this career path because it's not going to be there any longer. Nobody knows what they're talking about. They're trying to sound smart, and it's really that they're trying to sound smart at your expense, because we ingest it. We believe like, oh, I guess I can't do that. I guess I can't go down that career path. I guess I shouldn't go down into this business, right? Because everyone's saying don't do that. It's this other idea as it relates to business that you have to always be, if you're going to start a business, okay, what should you do? I need to come up with a new product. I need to come up with something that nobody's ever tried before, right? And that's what Shark Tank has done to us. I love Shark Tank. It's an incredible show. But the problem with Shark Tank is everybody that goes on there has a new thing that's never been seen before. That is the idea of Shark Tank, this entirely new thing. And it's wired our minds that in order to have a successful business, you have to do something that no one's ever done before. You have to have a product that nobody's ever used before, ever seen before. That is totally ridiculous. It's very hard to create a category. It's very hard to create something new that people have to actually learn what it's all about. Here's how you become successful in business. You look at all the different companies out there, all the different industries, all the different categories, and you find industries that have thousands of companies in it, thousands of companies that you would have to compete against. Because you know what? What you want to say to yourself is there room for one more company in that industry, in that category? Is there room for one more company? Because if there's thousands of companies in one industry, in one category, doing one thing, that means there's enough clients in that category, in that industry, in that sector to be able to fuel all of those businesses. And is there room for one more business? I would always say yes. I look for the most competitive categories. Yes, there's room for one more business. I'm going to be that business, and I'm going to do my job a little bit better than some of those other companies. I'm going to get some of those clients because there's enough clients to go around for everybody. So this idea that you have to carve out something brand new, you don't have to do that. Stop following the herd. Stop listening to bad advice. Stop feeling that you don't know enough, that you have to waste 10,000 hours. Stop thinking that you have to create something that never has been done before. Just go out there and do the thing, fail, do it again, keep trying, keep pushing. We all have imposter syndrome, and it's okay.